I'm Kev.
And I'm Steve.
And we're from the internet.
Want an extra episode of We're From The Internet every week? Head over to we'refromtheinternet.com/bonus to get an exclusive weekly bonus episode 100% free.
Do you squeeze the toothpaste tube or roll it?
Or what it? Oil it?
I think it was roll it, but my God, where are these questions from?
The internet. Like we are.
I see.
Right,
I get the title now.
Well done. This question, I've put this one in as part of a call to action for our hundreds of daily listeners. If you want better questions than this, please leave us some questions at not kevinsteve.com. That website doesn't exist anymore.
Long dead.
At we'refromtheinternet.com/question. That'll take you through to our voicemail page. You can do it through your smartphone. You can do it on a computer. You don't need any fancy equipment. You do it using the smartphone app. You just go to that website, press record, leave your message, hang up, boom. Doesn't cost you anything, and your question gets on the show. And you don't have to hear us talking about toothpaste tubes. But I don't understand this question, actually, because surely any right-minded human being does both of these, depending on the quantity of toothpaste in the tube. And this is one of my big bugbears with Anna, because she doesn't roll. She doesn't squeeze it from the right end either. She'll open up a new tube of toothpaste and just start squeezing it willy-nilly. And I go in there every day, and I end up having too much toothpaste on my brush because I have to work it through from the end. And it's very hard to get just the right amount on when you're trying to even out the correct tapering on the tube. And then you start rolling, and it's just how you make toothpaste last longer.
Invented a way around this by now.
Well, they have the pump action thing, don't they?
Yeah, but for them ones, if they're still selling them, they should invent a vice that you can just put it in and you just roll the vice a bit more each morning.
That's exactly how the big plastic tubes work, and I don't understand why they haven't just taken over. Yeah. Because back in the 90s, I don't know if this was just my parents celebrating richer times, because for the last half of the 90s, I didn't know toothpaste tubes still existed, because we only ever used the ones that stand up and you press a little button on the top and it squeezes out every last drop with a little plunger thing. Yeah, pretty much. I haven't used one of them for 15 years, because I was in Asda earlier this week buying toothpaste. I don't go shopping very often anymore, but I was sent to Asda. So obviously I came back with about 5 tubes of toothpaste because they were on offer, and I was tempted by them. But the normal traditional tubes are like £2 a pack, and the big standy up ones are about £4. Who's going to pay £4 just for a button?
That's pretty mad. Do you buy the minted one or the white one that doesn't taste of anything except arse?
I normally just buy the cheapest one. It varies. I quite like the one that has it's like blue gel and has little chunks of stuff in. I think the little chunks are supposed to get you clean. I think they always feel cleaner after a bit of that. Mm. You're a big fan of bacon toothpaste, aren't you?
No, I'm not. Somebody bought me it for Christmas once. And
you still got it?
It's in the cupboard somewhere.
You've got to bring it over and let Dave have a try of it. He'd love that.
But I'm not sure he can eat toothpaste. Won't the fluoride kill him or something?
He eats a lot of stuff. Dave's the dog, by the way, for anyone who's not familiar with Dave's work.
But yeah, sometimes Claire, I don't know if she accidentally buys it or what, but she'll get this white toothpaste that's... I want to say sulfur, but that's not sulfur. It's sodium or fluoride or something. I don't know. It's just white and plain. It's like people used to use baking powder when they were like in the 1800s.
What, so it's toothpaste without mint in it?
Yeah, and it is
that
horrible.
That wouldn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right, but she doesn't buy it on purpose. It's just she'll grab what she thinks is minty Colgate or whatever.
Well, here's a tip for it. It says mint.
Oh no, I know it does, and I have to say to her, it says mint on the box, and she's like, I just clicked it or I just picked it up, depending on when she's bought it shopping. But they need to do more flavours, because there's usually bubblegum and all sorts. So I think that's just for kids, and that's probably what I'm thinking of. But
yes, that's exactly what you're thinking of. Although you used to be able to buy bubblegum in toothpaste tubes when I was a kid. Do you remember that? I don't know if that ever came to this country, but it always used to be what I associated with going on holiday to Spain when I was like 8. You would get these little half-sized toothpaste tube type dealies, but they'd be full of strawberry bubblegum, and you'd take the end off. Obviously you'd have to squeeze the whole tube into your mouth, because that's the law. If you've got a full tube, you squeeze it all in, and then you can't speak for 10 minutes, which is probably why my parents should get me one every day, because it would completely fill your mouth. But then you've just got so much bubble gum, and if you actually manage to get a bubble going with it, it can be massive.
See, I never went to Spain growing up. I've still never been to Spain, actually, even. But
Shall we go now?
we should.
We'll get some bubble gum.
So we didn't have that on the way there when I went to France. It was always those big necklacey things made out of hard sweets that were just massively, massively long.
But you
just
can
whip
buy
and
them
chuck
at the newsagents in our village.
You can't. Not the ones I'm thinking of.
Are you talking about the ones that are like elastic with little sweets on?
No. Just like little.
The ones in little
sweets.
packets. With
Yeah,
the
that the sweets
Oh,
packets are
yeah.
connected together and they're really long and
Yeah, they're big sweet whips
yeah.
that you
And
whack people with.
we'd buy them on the boat over, and then we'd get there and we'd get our Orangina handed
Which
to
only
us as we
happened to
entered
you.
the
That was
country.
just a family friend arranging that for you.
No,
Nobody
every
else
time
had
we
that.
went to France, there was always just these women on the entrance to France just handing out
It happened
Orangina.
once.
No,
Orangina were
I
doing
asked
a
my
promotion
parents.
that day, and they were winding you up.
No, they said no. I asked them recently. They're like, yeah, every time.
Yeah, they're still winding you up.
No, I'm convinced they're not because I remember it happening.
What are the
once.
how over what period of time? How many years apart? Were
We
these
used to only go
instances?
like once a year, so I remember just saying like, Mum, this time can I have the Orangina? And they'd be like, yeah, of course.
So
you can.
you think over a course of a number of years,
Yep.
during what, the 90s?
Yep.
The Orangina Corporation
Yep.
would stand on the border into France
Well,
from the UK.
the port, the edge of the boat.
So they'd hang around in the docks
Yeah, I guess
with
so.
a bottle of orange fizzy pop.
Lots of bottles, I presume. They presented it to the car. They stood either side of the car.
So
And
the
you'd
car would
wind
get
the
two
windows
bottles?
down, yeah. I'd have to share with my sister. She'd have one, I'd have one, or my mum and dad would have it if they were thirsty.
So-
they'd kind of present it through the window.
So they've
and then
gone
we'd
to
drive on.
such lengths to dominate the docks of the 90s in France. But if they see four people in the car, they're not going to give four bottles. They're not going to go that over the top.
Well, there's only two women, and they open the windows of the car. You do. They don't open the windows.
They crowbar your windows down and force fizzy orange
But then
on
they just
you.
present us with the bottles, and they're like little glass bottles of Orangina, and then we drove off.
Orangina had the best bottles, didn't it? Does that
Yeah,
still exist?
I-
In fact, we
must
saw
do.
it when we went to Belgium, didn't we? We weren't presented with it when we drove into France.
But I'm very disappointed. Every time I've got on the Eurotunnel, no one's presenting me with anything.
But I remember when because obviously when you go on a sightseeing trip to Belgium, we went and hung around at the shop at the train station, even though we weren't on the train. But in Bruges, at the train station, when we were in on the morning we were coming home, they had a 4-pack of Orangina bottles in there. I remember seeing them, and I hadn't seen them for years, and they're still the same weird-looking glass
Yeah.
bottles with a fat bottom and the thin top. They were awesome. You didn't buy any though because you were buying beer instead.
Well, I assumed I'd be handed
Rolls,
some on my
so-
way out. I just thought, oh, they didn't get me on the way in. They probably ran out. I'll get some on the way back out again. But we'll have to get a boat over there and see if it happens. And if it does, you owe me your bottle.
You can have my bottle because I know it doesn't happen because you're a crazy person, and I don't believe Orangina are a big enough company to keep that kind of scheme going for 20 years.
Well, they might be in France. Nowadays, I imagine they'd just give you a voucher, though, because that seems a much more sensible thing to do.
Nowadays, if you were stopped in a port and someone tried to give you a drink, surely you wouldn't even wind the window
Well, they
down.
were dressed in like...
They were dressed as oranges, weren't they?
No, they were dressed as stewardesses, actually, which is
Riding
weird.
unicorns in your dream.
No, they must have been like boat porters.
They
or
each
something.
had 3 heads,
They wore little blue hats.
did they?
And
Like the top of an Orangina bottle. Did someone have too much fizzy pop when he went to France?
They were
dreaming.
orange.
Yeah, very suntanned ladies with blue hats on, and they had really big asses.
Could you imagine if I just fell asleep every time getting off the boat, and that was
Can
that?
I have the Orangina tonic this time, Mum?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
you
see.
can. Yeah, you weirdo. Here, have another bottle. Get you back in your sugar coma.
I'm certain that was a frequent occurrence.
Want to get every episode of We're From The Internet at least a day earlier than the iTunes and Stitcher folk? Head over to we'refromtheinternet.com/pledge to support us on Patreon, and as well as early access, we'll throw in an exclusive weekly show just for our patrons too.